Good everyone, my name is Graphics. Today we want to transform this view into isometric. This is a first angle projection, right? Since we're having the plan, we're having the front elevation and the plan. We want to transform these two views into isometric. So what you do is you draw your isometric axis, which is the axis inclined at 30 degrees, and this is what we'll be having. So you draw your vertical line and the horizontal line. Now this is what we have, right? Now if you look at our figure very well, the front elevation here deals with just the length and the height. So the height of this shape is given as 50 plus 20. So let's get the height, 50 plus 20. So from this point here, I'm going to measure 70 because 50 plus 20 is 70. You can see that from 0 to 70. Now the next one is the length. Now if you look at this from here to here will be the length. I told you the front elevation is always having the height and the length. Now we're not given the length here, but if you look at this circle here, the end of these 2 points is corresponding with the end of the circumference of the circle, right? And if you look at it, the total, we'll call it the diameter of the circle, but when you're seeing this symbol here, it means diameter is 80. So if from here to here is 80, automatically from here to here is 80 because the circle is symmetrical. So I'm going to measure 80 as the distance from here to here. So I'll do it this way. I'll measure 80 from this point to this point here, which is what, 80, right? If from here to here is 80, automatically the width also will be 80 because it is circular in shape because of the diameter you are seeing. So both the length and the width are what? Are 80. So this is the 80 here from 1 to 8. You can see that. So the length and the width is 80. It is a circular object. Now I'm going to move this up this way. From here, I will take it up, and also from here, I'll take it up. You can see that. So at this point where it meets, I'll do the same thing. What I used to draw here, I'm going to use it to draw here, right? And if I turn it this way, I'll be having this, right? So what I use to draw this point here, I'm going to use it to draw this point here, to touch here. Can you see that? And similarly, what I used to draw here, I'm going to use it to draw this point also here. So let me give you a better view of that. So I'll just use it to draw this point here. You can see that? Now the same thing that I did here, I'm going to do it here. So I'll turn my instrument, and what I used to draw here, which is this, I'm going to do the same thing to draw the other point here, right? So let me just take that point here. Let me bring it down a little bit. You're going to see what I'm talking. So we have drawn this. Now the next thing we'll be doing here is now putting in my shape, right? Now if you look at the diagram very well, now if you look at this, I want to draw this shape I have here. This is the elevation. I'm going to draw it at this side of my shape, right? So this elevation here, I'm going to draw it here. I'm going to draw it here, right? So we know very well that the height, which is this is from here to here, is 50, right? So I'll bring out that 50 out. So I'm going to measure the 50 from here to here. This is 50, right? So at that point, I'm going to draw a line this way. I'll do it round since it is a symmetrical object. I'll do it round. So if I've done this is what I have, right? So having this way, then I will close here up to. I'll close here up to. I'll also close here up to. This is where it meets. So we have two layers. Now after we've done that, right, we discover that this circle inside here is a diameter of what? 46, right? So that means half of it will be 23. So I'll get half of this line here, which is 80. So I'll get half of this line, which is 80. Then I'll measure 23 to the left and to the right. So I place it there. I'll measure 23 is 10, 20. Let me first of all get the 40 out because 80. So from the center, I'm going to measure 23 to the left and to the right. So this is 10, 20, 23 is here, right? And also the same thing will be applicable here. This 23 here. And this 20. So from that point, I am going to, let me bring this down a little bit. From that point, I'll just move this up here, just the point, direct it to this point. From here also, I'm going to direct it to this point. So this is where I'll just join like this, just to bring out that shape with your faint line first. Just to bring out the shape with your faint line. Right, so if you look at this shape carefully, you see that I brought out this shape that is shown at the top right corner of the screen. This shape from here to here to here down to here and here. So put the shape down. That's taken now. So what I will do here is that since I brought the shape down, I'm going to extend it to the other aspect. You see what I'm trying to do now. You know very well that this is the center here, right? So let us extend this to the other side of it. So from here to this other side, and from here to this other side, right? and this is the center here. This is the center here. So I'm going to move the center to the other side. Now if you notice it, that's the center line. So similarly, I'll try to get the center of these two. So if here is half of it is 40, from here to here is 40, automatically if I move this to the other side here, this side too will also be what? 40. So I can easily project my line to cut across it. So I'll get the center of that shape. Because anytime you have an isometric circle, what you should be after is the center. So this is the center here of the first one. So it's telling me that at that point there, that is the center of what? Of my circle. Is that taken? And what I'm going to do there is this. We know that earlier we measure from here to be what? 23. Right? So I'll just take this from here and I'll place it here. I'll move to the center. I'll mark 23 round. Just mark it round. We already have it there. So that is, I'll now close it to form my box. I'll close it to form my box. So this is my box here. So I'll draw a line that will pass through the center. And there's the line. And I'll connect the final line here to touch here. And I'll connect the other line here to touch there. So this is where both are meeting. And that is where I'm going to draw my circle, because the plan is having a circle on it. So if I place it here, I'll place this end here and I'll draw my arc. Right? Let's do that and see. I'll come here to the other end too, to this end, and I'll draw my arc. Then I'll come here, I'll do the same thing here too, to this point, and I'll draw my arc. Then I'll come to this end also, I'll do the same thing to this point, then I'll draw another arc. That is the top. The top, just like you're seeing in the top right corner of the screen, you realize that the plan has a circular shape, right? So that's the top of it. That is falling at the top. Now similarly, there's another bigger one at this base here. Let me show you. So this is the circle that we just drew. Why am I drawing this? This is telling me that it's at the top here. That's why I'm drawing at the top. Now the next thing is to draw this one, falling at the height of 50, right? And the diameter is the diameter of the shape of the block. So I'm going to draw this. This first one is for the top. The second one here is for both this and this. So I'll start by doing it this way. So I want to draw the other one at this point here. So I'll just take my meter rule, since it is the entire figure. I'll just draw this to get the center. Can you see that? So once I have done that, the next thing I'm going to do is to bring those points down, like this point. I'm going to bring it down here. That is the half of, from here to here is what? 80, and half of it is what? 40. So I can easily transfer the point. If I don't want to bring this down, I can easily transfer this point from here to this point here. I'll come here, or I just take my meter rule and trace it down from here to here. So when I've done that, I'm going to take my set square and I'm going to move it to this point, and I'm going to move it to this point. Now this is where this line and this line is meeting at the center here. So I'll repeat the same process from this point here. If you trace it, it is moving and it's going to meet this line, which is this line coming. So from here, or better still, I'll from this end, I'll move it to this line here. This line is saying that point, I'll move it to this point. Then from here also, I'll move it to the other line here, which is this. Which is this line where it meets. So I bring it down. Now I'm having this point and this point where I can draw my circle. So in doing that, I'll just come here where this line, I trace it so you don't make mistake, where it meets with that line here coming from here. I'll place it there and I'll trace it to this point where I can draw my arc, right? So you can see that, the first one. Now the other one, I'll do it from here also to the other point too, which is here. You can see that. So I'll trace it, but now I won't let it pass the figure. Just move from here to stop here, sorry. To move from here to stop here. And the other one is just stopping here. So because it cannot go through here, I want you to think you go through here, but just do this way and this way. Now the other one is coming from this point here. I'll take it to this point where I'll draw my arc. Can see that? And the other one from this point here, we'll also draw another arc again. You always gauge it. So you repeat the same thing at the base here. So to save ourselves the stress, I'll just complete the base with this. Just draw a line this way, and also complete the base. Just draw a line from here to touch here, and this is where they are meeting. And I'll draw my diagonal that will join from here to here, right? Then I'll transfer those points down. Where are the points? This point here, I'll transfer it down to here. This point also, this point here, I'll transfer it to here. Where am I using the point? The point I draw my inclined line here. And this also, from here, I'll just put it here. Then from the other aspect here too, I'll put it here. I'll do the same thing here too. From here, I'll mark here. Now for the other aspect here too, I'll mark here. Alright, these are all the 4 points I need. So I'll just take my meter rule, my compass, I'll place it here to this point, where I'll just connect this to this. I'll connect this to this. Then I'll come here also. I'll connect this to this. I'll stop here. Just to my faint line here. Here too, I'll place it here. I'll connect this to this. I'll stop here. This will just be faint line. The other one will not come up. So what I'll just do is I'll just join from this point straight down here. On this point, straight down here. So this is the main reason why I'm not drawing the one inside, because of it will be a hidden line, not just your main line you see.